Good morning. It's Friday, January 3rd, about 6 a.m. Central Time. Overnight, the precious metals are higher following yesterday's explosive rally. Quick recap here of yesterday. It was an explosive move in the precious metals, and this comes even with the relentless strength in the U.S. dollar. The miss in Eurozone and UK PMI data sent foreign traders purchasing assets such as gold, silver, crude oil, anything they can to try and protect their purchasing power. When you break down PMI and the ISM data, the numbers we are seeing in Europe and in the UK reflect contractions, meaning the numbers are below 50. Whereas in the US, we're seeing expansions or numbers that are greater than 50, or we're seeing that a bottom had occurred already in the number and that the rate of change is slowly getting better. So this gives you the setup for the kind of environment that we're in here, technically and economically. The UK and Europe, they are experiencing stagflation. That means that their growth is declining while inflation is remaining hot. Whereas in the US, you're seeing more of a reflation trade. You're seeing that the labor market is somewhat stabilizing, as indicated by the initial claims data, the continuous claims data coming down just a bit here, the initial claims data coming down a bit more, and that the US economy seems to be on healthy footing, and people are very optimistic about the current administration coming in. So when you look at the setup here on things like precious metals, so gold and silver ripped here yesterday, but if you look at gold and you break it down against other foreign currencies, against the Australian dollar, the euro currency, the British pound, the Swiss franc, all making new all-time highs or just honing right in on those all-time highs. So looking at the overnight price action, kind of the setup of the day, gold futures, again, they consolidated. Now we're starting to get the rally. So that typically happens after kind of a healthy pause with the consolidation. So 26.72 last, about $9 off the high, 26.81. Low of the session, 26.64. So we're kind of moving away from those double bottom sell-offs that we're seeing in the chart. Silver futures up 35 cents at 30.25, breaking back over that $30 level. 30 has been a psychological resistance point, and I believe that some of the people out there were really trying as hard as they could to keep that silver market below 30, especially closing in on the year. Now looking at copper futures up about 140 right now. And you look at copper here, it's been supported by the EV vehicle sales. That's what's really kind of kept it above this $4 level. Copper, there's 4 times the amount of copper in the EV sale in an EV vehicle than a combustion vehicle. And then also getting back to the silver market, I really believe that in 2025 we're going to see $36 to $38, taking out the 2024 highs as the global industrial production bottoms and real yields start to come off in the US here. So shifting into that platinum market, up $14, $937. I told you yesterday, I've seen a lot of people come in and trying to front run, buying right around 900 here, waiting for any kind of dip, but the fact that they're front running and buying slightly above it, you've seen a contract lows of about 909. We're trading at 937 here last. Shifting gears to the other outside markets, crude oil futures. Crude oil continues its upward move here, slightly softer here today after Biden ordered to permanently bar oil lacing in some of the U.S. waters and block more offshore drilling before Trump arrives. So really trying to stop the expansion of U.S. oil production. And because of that, we're seeing kind of a rotation and people are adding to the energy space here and healthcare space as they've been weaker for the dynamic of sector styles. Now you get to the U.S. dollar index backing off from 2-year highs. When it broke out over 109 yesterday, it was a violent move higher. And you could see that on an intraday chart. And if you don't have access to ICE quotes, just look at a British pound or a euro currency quote. You could see a hemorrhaging effect that occurred. The bond yield's taking a bit of a breather here today, but it is higher for longer at the moment. And then Bitcoin really lifting off of that 92,000 up to 97,000. And this comes as investors sold $333 million from BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF on Thursday. That was the most that's been withdrawn since the fund had launched about a year ago. People are saying that maybe Bitcoin's taking a bit of a breather, but I think if you look at the price action, it somewhat speaks for itself with the explosive rally back higher. Now the S&P 500 really trying to snap its 5-day losing streak. It's on pace for about a 1.7% drop here year to date at the moment. And getting into year to date performance, something to look at. Excuse me. Your best two commodities right now: silver up 3.36%, platinum up 2.98%, RBOB up 2%, crude oil up 1.7%, and then the list goes on and on. Your worst performers have some of your best performing commodities of last year. We've got cocoa down about 4% at the moment here. You got copper slightly higher as well. Gold up about 1% additionally. Now getting to the CME's Fed Watch tool and looking at some of the data coming out here, 11.2% chance that the Fed cuts rates 25 basis points. Haven't seen any real movement on that number in the last week or so. Now looking at some of the data coming out today, you're going to have a few things coming out. You've got total vehicle sales, Ward's total vehicle sales. You got natural gas storage. You got one FOMC speaker coming out, Fed member Barkin, and then you got the ISM manufacturing data coming out, and then you've also got, that's the prices, and then you got the ISM manufacturing PMI data. Now the PMI data is forecasted at 48.2, but that's coming off of its lowest levels and improving. And then if you look at the manufacturing prices data, that's back over the 50 level. They're expecting 51.5, and that shows you some of the resiliency in the U.S. economy. Now looking at the precious metals from a technical standpoint, gold futures kind of honing in on that 50-day moving average, 2686. We break above that, we could see 2700. And then on the support side, you really don't want to see it retrace and close back below that 2650. I think that would be a devastating blow to the bulls, and we may retest that 2600. So if you're at all overweighted and you were able to add within this consolidation zone, it just makes sense to lift some of that protection back to the upside. You do have silver, that made a double bottom on the charts here. Now we're starting to lift up a bit more. We've got to really break out over like 31, about 75 or 30.75. And then I think we could start to break out and start to attack some of those higher levels. You got copper futures made a new contract low here in the yesterday, starting to lift back up as well, but consolidation healthily around that $4 area. And then platinum futures starting to rise as well. Key level of resistance on platinum, 950 and then 973.50. Those are kind of your two areas that you want to keep an eye on. You got any questions, give me a call. I'll be on the Schwab Network later on today, right around 2:40 p.m. Central Time. And again, you got any questions, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Be sure to register for that Metals Edge. We are starting to modify some of the bullet points, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys on what you want to see in the Metals Edge. That's an exclusive report that we provide for our clients at Blue Line Futures. Again, you got any questions, give me a call, 312-858-7303. Remember, futures and option trading does involve risk of loss, being not suitable to all investors. Good luck, good trading.